All right.
We're live.
I believe so. Go ahead.
We're live. Hi, guys.
We're live.
We are not doing this from our home today. We are in South Jordan, Utah at Hireview, where we all happen to work. Surprisingly. We're going to go over the North this week, right, Ricky?
Yep. AFC and
AFC and
North.
NFC North. And then we have a fantasy draft right after, so we're a little hyped for that. So we might do a lot of fantasy stuff today. But go ahead and take it away, Ricky. We can start with the AFC, or
Yeah, let's go start with the
Talk
Steelers.
our fantasy football podcast. That's interesting.
going on a limb here.
Let's go ahead and talk about the Steelers and how bad their running backs are for driving around with pot coming out of their car.
Well, not only that, but their third-string running back had been retired.
So I believe Ben Roethlisberger is going up in value a little bit. But on that,
My favorite thing about that was, like, I'm sure you've all watched or heard it, but Le'Veon Bell basically told the cops that he didn't know you could get a DUI while driving time.
What did he say?
And then he was just like, I smoked a few hours ago. I'm not high now. Why would I smoke before I go to practice? Like,
oh, jeez.
So
It's both their first offense, which is pretty surprising since LeGarrette Blount's name, but it does not.
First time he got caught.
Yeah, it looks like that they will not be getting potential penalties. So, and depending on what happens to Josh Gordon, they might not get any hand
So
slaps.
the league is not doing anything until the Josh Gordon situation gets worked out because they don't want to overdo or underdo anything that they need to. So I would still
weird because they've never done that.
Yeah, right. I would still play him. I have him in the league that we're drafting for today. I'm going to start him.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're starting him in week 1 in spite of the fact that people don't know he's playing it. They're claiming it right now. So we're holding into this.
There's
going to be.
If he gets
Even
suspended,
if he's
it'll be
suspended,
like,
he still has to start it in week 1.
I will still start him if he's.
by the time it takes
Every time I
them
play against
to
you, I'll
get through
start
the processing, if he gets suspended, it'll be like 1 or 2 games in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
with
so
Josh Gordon's been
you
going
have to
on
start
for a
him
long
when it's
time.
time.
So
Yeah. What
new
about
rule: you start all suspended players. Okay? That's the penalty for drafting him. You want to feel it resonate.
Wait, the third Archer had to retire? No, I think their third string on that had to retire.
I was not on NFL's.
So
Antonio Brown's about the only one that has any real value outside their running backs
what about
anyway.
Heath Miller?
Heath Miller looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I really-
so this
do you guys know
random
how
tight
old
end
he
is
is?
going to be somewhere between 5 and 10, sure, if you want to draft him.
He's really, really touchdown dependent. But
Yeah.
he doesn't
Like
get a lot of
every other
catches.
tight end that isn't named Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, there've been others like Brandon Pettigrew a couple years that he did pretty decent in PPR, had good yards, didn't get a lot of touchdowns. I mean, there's other guys like that.
Just,
but
if you're talking PPR, James Winston is always like says he get 80
Lewis Thomas.
touchdowns for 73 yards because he only gets 1 yard a catch.
Lewis Thomas as well, though. So
I'm just saying, tight ends are not
You know what?
important.
I'm gonna like Vernon Davis's Facebook page.
Would you like a cookie for that? I don't know.
what do you guys think about Dre Archer?
I feel like he's little guy, that's fast, but
I
sometimes
think he'll end up being second. I don't feel like Blunt has many more years.
I thought that Blunt looked really good, actually.
I don't think there's any chance that you could ever have him on your team when it comes to fantasy football and have it be, oh yeah, I'm glad that I have him on my team. But 1 week he might score on an 80 or 90 yard run or pass, but then just start next week and he won't even touch the ball.
Yeah, he's pretty limited right now. He ran like, was it a 4.2 or something? He ran some ridiculous speed at the
Not as
combine.
fast as Ryan.
That's
yet,
fast
but-
as my sub
No,
3.9.
Ryan can run a 4.1.
No, sub 3.9.
Oh, it's sub 3.9 now.
So I think Pittsburgh is going to be slightly interesting just because Denver's gone to Antonio Brown's there to Marcus Wheaton, who's their upside guy.
They do have Darius Hayward-Bay.
I actually saw it. Just for a
Fast,
touchdown.
fast.
He's so fast.
That's why the Raiders took him
I
and never
can't
used him.
believe the Raiders let him go. He's so fast.
Oh, Davis no longer there, buddy. I mean, so you got the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers. Steelers what? Contending for second?
Steelers might be the 4th team in that division.
I agree.
I think the Browns will do a lot.
I believe in Johnny Manziel. I'm just kidding. Don't.
Oh, dude.
I'm just kidding. That's,
Love, man.
I don't believe.
I think
Talk about
I think Bengals are clearly the best team.
Yeah, I think Steelers are fighting for third or fourth. No, you're not.
I have no faith in the Ravens right now. And Browns are the quarterbacks are trying to compete. Who doesn't want to start?
Isaac Redmond had to retire.
Ooh, that's important stuff right there. That's fantasy relevant. Isaac Redmond,
So let's talk about the Browns. So no quarterback. Like quarterback situation is terrible.
They're gonna run two quarterbacks. No. So Brian Hoyer last year. I should probably go and look and see exactly what he did statistically, but I remember him actually being relevant to the point that all of our mockery of Jacopo over here and his love for Brandon Wheaton and the Cleveland Browns winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was good.
He actually
was looking decent for a little while.
Yeah, he made Jordan Cameron.
But he's been looking terrible in the preseason. Like every single one of their quarterbacks is just like,
I heard the Browns have had 20 different starting quarterbacks in the last 10 years.
I don't believe that.
And they've had a new head coach every year for 5 years straight now or something. Like, what? Just, give a guy a couple years, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah, why did they drop that one guy? Where did that one guy go? Eden, where did he go?
Who's your backup quarterback, Sanchez?
Hey, Sanchez has gone to the playoffs twice.
He also has one of the most
we're going to get some great. Yeah, but we're also going to get some great
he wears his hair long and has a band like a.
As long as he's not wearing the stash.
You know who else wears their
all I
hair
do
long?
is cheat every day, Brady. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what y'all love. But no, I actually think the Brian Hoyer, I think they're going to kind of do the whole platoon system for a couple of weeks, notably the first 3. When's the bye week? Schedule.
After the bye, I really like Ben Taco and Terrence West.
I think Terrence West is going to end up being starter by the end of the year.
They're both looking really good right now. Dude,
they have a bye week
he's
week
looking
4.
Okay, so Johnny Manziel is a full-time starter as of week 5.
Probably.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah. Just because,
Put money on him.
dude, I feel like Cleveland is just getting superstars, right? Just to pull more people into their city, right? I think that is their strategy as a city, like just to bring more people in there and more people in the city.
They already got LeBron.
They did the Manziel thing well before they knew LeBron was coming back.
But, I mean, that was the whole thing, right? When they have LeBron,
so you think the mayor has mandated to the team owners?
yeah, they're just like, hey, I will, waive all taxes.
All taxes.
Just bring in, whoever will bring as much controversy and publicity to our town. Like, it's like every day, Hoyer Manziel, like every article, I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I like the running backs. I do like Miles Austin.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to have that many good throws to him.
He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, but
I actually like him as
but who's their tight end? Chris?
Jordan Cameron.
Who will probably be the #1 producer on that team from
it really depends on Josh Gordon. Like if he ends up playing, if Josh Gordon ends up playing, I think Cameron's value goes down a little. I mean, it's kind of the thing you have to go back because if Gordon's playing, then he's going to take a lot of touches away. But does he free up more defenders off of Cameron because of that? Like if Cameron's the main target, are they just going to key in on him and make them throw to the outside and most their quarterbacks can't do that really. So.
I think if Hoyer's in and Gordon's in, then the majority goes to Gordon. If Manziel's in, he's going to use the safety blanket and Cameron underneath the short passes.
Well, and Hoyer actually connected with Manziel or with Cameron quite a lot last year. A lot of the time that Hoyer was in, Cameron was actually playing really well.
But then Gordon came back, right? And then he took a lot of stuff.
Gordon came back and
I just want to make sure that we made a very clear statement. So you think that Josh Gordon's better than Jordan Cameron then? So he can be more productive. He's playing it pretty good. You said Jordan Cameron's going to be the best important unless Josh Gordon there, and then he'll be the most productive.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about that. I was talking about Cameron's value and Gordon playing.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't obviously Josh Gordon is much better. It's not something I need to say, but I was saying, is it going to help or hurt Cameron's value if he comes back? Because you have to have. Obviously, Gordon is going to take a lot of the targets and a lot of the touchdowns and everything like that. But
I don't think it affects Cameron because all he's going to be doing is catching his stuff underneath because the quarterbacks are running around with like chickens with their heads cut off, not sure what to do, and then he's just going to sit there standing there like this, don't throw him the ball.
He's pretty big.
But he also is dropping a lot of balls in preseason, so I don't know how that's going to
work out for him. Brandon Whedon looked pretty awesome in preseason last year, so that's what stock I put into preseason nowadays.
You've learned your lesson then?
Yes. The Cowboys were obviously watching preseason last year when they decided to pick up Whedon.
So no,
He was supposed to be our third-string quarterback, you jack.
No real sleepers on either of these teams, really.
Their defense could be good, though, from a fantasy perspective.
Browns?
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is with the Niners.
Ooga booga, wooga wooga.
Ooga booga. That's
Yeah.
what we like to refer to him. Ooga booga.
I think if Miles Austin stays healthy, I think he could be and if Josh Gordon is suspended, I think that Austin could actually be a decent sleeper.
He's
They
not
don't
going
really-
anywhere in that. He's
No,
like,
I don't think he's being drafted in 10 team league. So
Look, I like Hawkins from a PPR perspective. I think he's at Cincinnati. He's a short little slot receiver that gets good passes. He's quick. He may not get a lot of yards per catch, but he's good.
So let's go on to the Ravens. Joe Flacco, not looking too great. Right?
He got paid.
Yeah. Ray Rice, wife beater. Would never have him on my team except for Ryan took him in our league.
He apologized. He owned up to his mistakes. Don't actually see
I believe
him his wife.
I believe
They were.
Oh yeah, okay.
Drunk, and he said, "I'm going to make amends," etc.
You are kidding. You're saying that because it didn't show him hitting him, it just showed him dragging her by her hair out of the elevator.
I'm sorry. She's dragging her by her hair.
Anyway.
No, he's not. He just happens to drag her like a freaking sack of potatoes under her arms. Like,
Wow.
I can't believe you are defending him.
So anyway, I'm not high on Ray Rice. I don't want him on
I
my
am.
team.
I do.
His value is very low. He's out
It's
for
like six,
two or four
games.
games.
Yeah, so in
Oh,
the
yeah.
NFL, you can beat up your wife and girlfriend and get 2 games. But if you smoke marijuana, 8 games. Done.
No,
And I
marijuana
gave
for the third
16.
time when it's been laid out. That you
Smoking
can't do
marijuana
those
3 times is nowhere near the
It
same
hasn't been laid
as
out that you
hitting
can't
a woman.
beat your wife.
things. It has, and unfortunately for the league, he hasn't done anything else wrong in his career, and so they couldn't suspend him for more according to the collective bargaining agreement that they've worked out. That's why immediately after they had to pass down this punishment, they went back and said, "We have to change this, obviously, because any sort of domestic violence
They
is
could have
wrong."
changed it whenever they wanted to. They
No,
changed
they
it before
can't.
the
That's
helmet.
not how it
The helmet
works.
hits. They all of a sudden just started suspending people.
They changed it, and then they started to suspend people. They didn't suspend people and then say, "By the way, we're retroactively suspending you based off these new changes." It's, "Oh crap,
Who's
this is happening."
the
so we have
Sierras
to
guy
change
that
it."
got suspended for a hit before they had changed it? James Harrison got suspended.
Fine, multiple times. Then they changed it. Then he was suspended. The way that these agreements work is they legally have to follow the rules and stipulations that they set out in the agreement. That's why they went to change it immediately after they made the decision. They can't be like, "Oh crap, well, we really dropped the ball on this one."
Was he ever actually convicted of domestic abuse?
No.
He was never convicted.
No, because then he married her,
Yep.
and then she
She
couldn't.
can't. Yeah, she can't. That's fine.
So.
Yeah, I'm rich. Just married me. I'm gonna do that.
Says
So-
nobody ever. Everyone thinks that Ray
So
Rice
even though
is an
Flacco's
outstanding
not doing
person.
too well, do we like his receivers? Like Torrey Smith, Steve Smith, Ron Brown, Jacoby Jones? But
I've always liked Torrey Smith, but not. Did you say Jacoby Jones? He's still on there?
I have him on here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
Torrey
just
Smith
remember
would be
the
pretty
NFL
good.
Network always running that Jacoby Jones play. Like, they made some big deal about it. I'm just like,
When they have
let David Tyree did one thing.
Gary Kubiak's there now, so.
He's more pass heavy, right?
No, he's running.
Well, but he's focused on the tight end a lot, and you have to think, like, he was with Andre Johnson for a long time.
Well,
Like,
Kubiak was in Houston. No other team ran more than Houston. And then, what was it last year?
no.
Or was it came from Houston then?
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, he's super run heavy, so that's.
But he also relies
probably
heavily on the tight end.
He relies heavily on the tight end and the number 1 or 2. So I think Torrey Smith and Dennis Pitt are good. I don't like any of the other receivers. I don't think Steve Smith as much as I.
He's a favorite player.
Yeah, well, that was 10 years ago.
Who's your favorite?
Steve Smith, just because he played at DU and I like the Panthers a lot when they first became a team. So
Which Steve Smith is this one?
Steve Smith
Remember
Senior.
when we always had that problem with the draft? Like you're always
No.
like, which Steve Smith is it? Oh, okay.
Steve Smith Senior.
I did like how ESPN has him listed as Steve Smith Senior now. I don't even think the other Steve Smith's still in the league though.
But he has Smith Senior on his jersey too.
Because he's a proud papa.
All right. How do we feel about the Ravens? Bottom two of this division?
Nobody knows.
I think they're right in the middle. I think the Steelers could possibly beat them, but it's going to come down to
a run down, not very good defense, and an offense that can't score.
They still have Polamalu,
who is
he had a nice interception in their preseason game.
He was getting it from a quarterback that is only accurate 50% of the time. So 50%, you don't know what's happening.
So okay. So we feel like the Bengals top of this division.
Yeah.
Oh, Foles.
Bengals have the best defense.
Andy Dalton got paid a little. Not like a huge contract, but enough.
You think Carson Palmer, which is who's on the Bengals now?
Maybe he just didn't like Cincinnati.
No, he's going to take second place in a division that they're supposed to take fourth in.
Instead of taking first in a division that he's going to clearly take first.
There's no way he could stop.
I would actually love to see Palmer throwing to AJ Green. That would be great.
49ers are going to go like 8-8.
Okay.
And the Cardinals are going to go up higher than that?
Yeah, they're going to go 10-6 and take second to Seattle's 12-4.
49ers
We'll get to this
level.
later. Bengals are we talking about?
Yeah, Bengals.
How much was his stupid contract for? And why are you saying it's not a lot?
It's just like $64 million with only like $30 million guaranteed, I think.
It's a low kind of like performance-based quarterback contract.
Yeah. I don't think it makes a difference really. I mean, he got drafted beginning of the second round or third round. So I mean, he wasn't getting a ton of money. I think it's fine. Like, I don't think that's going to change anything. I think that
I don't heard anybody
Jim Caldwell. I think
Andy Dalton is a great backup. Though. He could definitely produce some numbers.
He had the top 5. Like he was 5.
So we got like 40 points.
He's going so low that you could take him and like if you're not going for a top 5 quarterback, take Andy Dalton and somebody else, right? Like an Andy Dalton and Cutler, and then play matchups, and you're gonna have a great quarterback setup.
Yeah.
Right? Like Cutler won't be good every week, but he could have some great weeks, right? So,
play any quarterback that's playing Dallas.
yeah, pretty much.
That's your strategy.
Or Dallas' quarterback. Seriously, the quarterback's throwing against Dallas and the quarterback's throwing for Dallas, there will be over 80 touchdowns thrown combined.
Definitely if Whedon comes in.
Oh, stop.
All right, Giovanni Bernardo, very high on that guy.
How many receivers though?
I'm not super high on him actually. Like I think he's going to be really good. Like in a few years, I just don't know that.
They got no one else though.
He's
gonna be like there's no real committee there. Right? Like Jeremy Hill and Ben Jarvis Greenhouse ain't gonna be taking as much
Ben
stuff.
Jarvis Greenhouse, come on.
The law firm ain't coming back. He's about the pasture.
No, I mean they don't have anyone else. I like that he's like.
Giovanni Bernardo.
Did you say he's about the pasture?
He's been put out the pasture. He's in the third string. I'm not gonna ever come out and play spot. Yeah. Yeah, Giovanni Bernard I like because he's going to be a solid. There's no committee there. Of course, AJ Green.
Which I haven't heard anybody talk about him this offseason. He's like a solid top 3 going into the season. Like it's like Calvin Johnson. Like the top tier wide receivers, just nobody talks about them because they're just going to be amazing.
Except for I love when people are like, well, if you could argue one of the best receiver in the league, it's like, no, if there's one person who's the best receiver in the league, his name is Calvin Johnson, and then there's everybody else.
You know what Fitzgerald used to really compete with Calvin Johnson? Like Fitzgerald used to be like that conversation.
First season when they're like, oh, it's going to be
I feel like Dez or AJ could compete with that.
This year, easy, yeah.
Just from no.
I think
I love AJ Green, and I hate Des Bryant, but I don't think that either of them are close. I think if there was one that was close to him,
they're not close. Yeah, right.
They're close, but like just how their bodies are, they're just not like how. There's no one else like Calvin Johnson.
Like why he's clear number 1.
Who would be close to him if that was
Brandon Marshall? Just from a size, from an athletic standpoint.
So all the players that you've owned in the past couple of years are good enough to beat them.
I just said AJ Green is not good.
Wait, so we like Gresham or Eifert? Oh, Eifert. How do you say his last name?
Yeah, Eifert. I don't know. I've heard that Eifert's like a sleeper.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I like either of them.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on this AFC North? Any thoughts that we want to go after here?
No.
Do we like the Bengals defense?
Yeah. They were pretty good last year. I don't remember where they ended up finishing, but I'm pretty sure it was top 10 defensive teams last year. So.
Yo, ESPN, can you get that damn tilt ad off everywhere?
Yeah, right?
Seriously.
Like, we don't, like, I'm sure there are people in leagues like, so are we supposed to use this tilt thing to pay our fees? And like, no, like, why are you thinking that? Like, just, no.
Yeah.
So Bengals
like you as a commissioner were like, oh yeah, let's use tilt.
No, never.
So the Bengals ended last season as the third-ranked defense in fantasy, scoring only 6 points less than the Panthers, and like 20 points less than the Seahawks. So they were tied with the Chiefs. They actually ended up tied with the Chiefs.
I was like, Chiefs had to be up there.
So
I was surprised to hear the Panthers were above them.
Yeah, the Panthers were solid all season.
Who was the worst defense?
Dallas.
No, it had to be
Vikings.
That's right.
Vikings only scored 55 points last year.
All right, we got
It's like 100 less than the Seahawks.
That's 150 less than the Seahawks.
Wow.
Oh my god.
They scored negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
negative 5
They
times.
scored in.
But they got 17 points week 2.
And they just lost their best guy on the defense.
Yeah, Jared Allen.
Where did he go? Jared Allen went to Bears.
So,
And then if freaking Urlacher was still there.
He should have. Jared Allen could have went to the Broncos.
That would have been just like
That would have been so ridiculous.
That would have been the most beastly. Like,
No, then it would have been like the dream team that the Eagles were putting together a few years ago that ended up not being.
Hey,
What is a better D line? Jared Allen, DeMarcus Ware, or O.C. Umanura and Michael Strahan?
Michael Strahan. Well, in their prime.
Yeah.
I think Michael Strahan's the best player out of all those, but I'd try to take Ware and Allen
Together.
Yeah.
Because they're like.
So should we start at the bottom of the NFC North?
With the Vikings, that's cool. They're definitely at the bottom.
Just click it.
Yeah, so are the Vikings.
They have one truly fantasy relevant person. Kyle Rudolph really is probably going to be the fantasy MVP on this team. What do you guys think?
Kyle Rudolph?
Go on a
Brian's
limb
such a
here.
scumbag.
I think the running back's a starter. Okay. Pick him up in most of your
He's
leagues.
a solid flex player.
I think
you can pop him in your flex and be okay.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be hurting too bad. Actually, if you do have AP, you should just put them in your flex, just to spike. Like,
It's surprising with how bad their team is going to be, like win-wise, like how high some of their guys are ranked in fantasy. Like Rudolph seems to be like not a lot of people are high on him, but they have AP, Cordero Patterson. I love. Greg Jennings actually did really well when Matt Castle was throwing last year.
they have a lot of weapons on offense. Their defense is probably where they're going to have some problems.
You know, that's a really positive thing.
There are a lot. There's actually a lot of
not.
teams right now that are like very strong offensively and just like terrible defense. Yeah. So, but and
I like Teddy
with these,
Bridgewater.
and if they keep calling these defensive penalties like they have been with the there's I mean it doesn't even matter. Like
I don't even like it when they call it my team. I'm like, calm down.
Yeah, it's like
Especially if it's like a completion for, let's talk about it from a fantasy perspective real quick. What if it's a completion for 7 yards? Like, oh, there's 0.7 points and half a point for PPR if I'm playing in the half.
but nope, it's gone, right?
And then they're like, oh no, they want the 5 yards and the free first down rather than 7 yards. You just lost 1.2 points because the league sucks.
Or when you kicker that free kick on the 7 yard line.
That's awesome.
I mean,
I hate
Thanks,
kickers.
Harbaugh.
Matter of fact, by the way, when you guys join in the mega league next year, kickers are not going to be involved. We're not going to happen. But
so what do you guys think of Bridgewater?
I don't think he has any fantasy relevance.
I'm not like just going forward. Like
I don't think he's going to play much this year. I think Castle's going to.
I think that if as soon as they're out of playoff contention, I'd say like week 4, week 5, similar to Manziel.
If they're 0-5, they're putting Bridgewater in.
Well, I don't know that you want to do that necessarily.
Oh,
like,
they're doing it. They're
putting
like,
him
get
in
this
for-
kid some experience. We're going for next.
You don't want to just put them in. Like I haven't looked. I guess we should look at their
They are
schedule.
2-0 in the preseason. Look, so they've got St. Louis, tough game.
Who's their number one
New Orleans,
wideout?
tough game. Atlanta, tough. Wow, their schedule sucks. Look at this.
Who's their number one wideout? Jennings?
Well, I'd say Patterson. I mean, Jennings is opposite, so.
St. Louis, good defensive line. New England, everybody hates. New Orleans, good team. Atlanta, good team. Green Bay, good. Well, Atlanta could be.
Their first
Green Bay, good team. Detroit, good team. Then they get a little bit easier with Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Washington, but then they go right back to Chicago, Green Bay, Carolina. Jeez.
Yeah, it's like
I see like 3-4 wins max on that.
So let's see. 1, 2.
No, they could win.
They could win like 6 or 7. It depends on how good Chicago is. They looked pretty terrible yesterday.
They're going to win week 2.
Stop it. I think they could beat the Rams.
Maybe week 4.
No, they'll win 1. They're going to lose 2, 3, 4, 5. They could probably beat Detroit.
Detroit's just a wild card. Like, Detroit will play awesome and lose games.
So, they're also playing at the Superdome. Actually, they're playing outside this year.
Playing outside this year.
What do you think AP will do on that grass field?
Fair enough.
So also,
I'm going to try to own him in every league that I'm in.
you try to get him today?
Oh, yeah.
Pay $90 for him.
$97.
97.
That's my opening bid.
So, what's the next team? Is Detroit the next team going up?
Is that all that matters? No, I'm serious about Kyle Rudolph, though. Not being the MVP of his team.
Right. No. I had him a couple years ago.
North Turner, like.
North and Turner.
And if Bridgewater goes in, he's even better because
when Antonio Gates was mad relevant.
North Turner's always had good running backs, which everyone's like, oh, he's a running back guy. Well, when you have like Emmitt Smith and LaDainian Tomlinson and players of that ilk, it's kind of hard not to be a running back offensive coordinator. But they do always put up stats when he's there. I think Adrian Peterson's going to have about 22 and total yards and anywhere from 62 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the
Kyle
catches.
will have about 10 to 12 touchdowns. So.
I think the touchdown or the catches, like every time that on the podcast that I listened to, they've said like 3 times now that the years where Adrian Peterson has had his best fantasy seasons is when he's had like more than 50 catches or something like that, right? And so with North Turner, like they're going to be getting the ball to him in space. He's going to I think he's going to catch at least 50, 60 balls this year. I think he's going to hit you for that. Yeah. Like I'd take him number 1 in a snake draft, number 1 pick. Oh, every single time.
Yeah. Even Zach said he couldn't draft John Calvin over E3. He had first pick in a snake, and Zach's like, the number. So.
What about, let's go to Detroit Lions.
Let me just do something real quick on Adrian Peterson. Who do you think had more rushing yards at this point in their career? Adrian Peterson or Barry Sanders?
So they both played 10 years?
7.
I'd say Barry Sanders.
Barry had his 2,000-yard season?
Nope, he did not.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders. Who had more at this point, Emmitt Smith or Adrian Peterson? I'm just asking a question. Answer the damn question. Who do you think?
I don't know.
That's a who do you think question. Oh my hell, it's so difficult. Anyway, Adrian Peterson has put out the goal that he wants to break the record, right? He is just over 8,000 yards behind still. But yeah,
so
he is behind.
6 to 7
I thought that from his dominant things, he would be above both Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith at this point. Emmitt Smith was longevity, and Barry Sanders was rushing for 2,000 yards 2 years before he retired. But he's still behind both of them at this point. I don't think he's going to do it.
It'll be interesting. That's just surprising me because I feel like every single season he's done really, really, really good.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at that the other day. When I was like, oh, I'm totally going to own it. But he did have a year of sub 1,000 yards already.
Is that when he was injured?
Yeah. He played in 12 games, and then the next year he rushed for 2,000. But last year he didn't even have 1,300 yards rushing last year.
Their team was so bad last year.
How many did they ever see?
Was that this year when he was just like, I'm going for 2,300 yards this year rushing?
Yeah. Which is probably what he's going to get this year. Receiving stats.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, Emmitt Smith wasn't such a ridiculous
powerhouse in terms of fantasy value though.
Also, think about all those running backs that did super well. They had a beast fullback, like lead blocking, like Moose and Lorenzo O'Neal for LaDainian Tomlinson. Is Peterson in that? Do you have a good fullback?
They used to.
Barry Sanders didn't have anyone blocking before him.
Yeah, but Barry Sanders was a freak.
Barry Sanders is.
If he wouldn't have retired, easily rushing title.
Sorry, I just had to point that out because I was looking at that the other day to see if he had a real chance of doing it. He still had has 8,000 yards to go to pass Emmett.
So he probably has like 6 seasons.
6 to 7 seasons to pass him.
1,600 yards.
So he'll be like 35.
This is gonna be a good year though. This might be his best fantasy year yet.
No if Turner stays there.
Yeah, so let's talk about Lions. I really like the Lions a lot.
Everyone always really likes
For
the Lions
winning
in
or from a
preseason.
fantasy perspective?
From a fantasy perspective.
Yeah. I think they could probably come in second in this division, but
I don't know. When you go,
I think
like,
they beat the Bears.
yeah.
when your quarterback throws for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and he's like the 4th best quarterback in the league, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Poor Detroit. Like,
They
Yeah.
just they threw away a lot of games where they had like big leads last year, and I mean they.
I think they
offense is
panic a
really
lot.
good.
I think they panic if they're down or it's close. They just start throwing the ball. Like
They're just drafting up all of BYU defensive line. Either defense because they have Amsa and
You
Calvin.
think Sue will get fined this year?
What? Is he not
Yeah.
already been fined for something?
The over-under on fines, too, so it's like 5.
How many fantasy points do you have for every dollar they find?
2. So, yeah. And you also get negative fantasy points for every time your running back beats flat. Just so you know.
You don't get negative fantasy points.
I will
You
put
get
that
0.
in there. I will put a negative in there.
Okay, but it's just like with the collective bargaining agreement. It has to be all things moving forward. You can't retroactively punish
How do you
someone.
think Reggie Bush and Joy Belvey now that the Cowboys, the offensive coordinator?
Yeah. I think Reggie Bush.
I can't remember his
Bell,
name, but the offensive coordinator there was like super big on.
Jim Ford?
No, that was their head coach, yeah. But the offensive coordinator from Detroit last year, who basically made both their running backs like the top 15 running backs, went to Dallas, and so now it's going to kind of be. Do you think Joy Bell loses value there and Reggie gains
I
it, or
I
do you
think they both lose value, but they're like evened out. I think they're both basically at the same level. Like you can take Bell and probably get the same value you're going to get out of this year. I don't know.
I think Bell's going to probably get more touches. Just overall, it'll depend on
Bell or Bush will get more touches.
Bush. Yeah, I think he'll be in more on passing downs. It'll be interesting to see like who their first and second down back is if they use Bush a lot for that.
All I know is if Stafford goes down, like this team,
who's their backup?
Dan Orlovsky,
Oh, baby, Orlovsky.
Wow. Stafford, stay healthy.
or Kellen Moore, or James Franklin.
Kellen Moore, Boise State.
Boise State, 5'6" QB.
Dude, I can't believe he's only been in the league for 5 years. Stafford, I feel like it's been longer.
You know,
He's been hurt a lot.
I mean, yeah.
But man, if you could go back to 2011, that was a pretty.
But I mean,
year.
Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate,
Yeah, right.
You think Golden
Kevin
Tate's,
Ogletree.
Even then, he only missed 5,000 yards
Brandon
by like
Pettigrew.
one pass the next year.
I think Golden Tate's the
Oh,
best
God.
second
Joe
receiver they've ever
Favre.
had.
I don't even know how to say his name. I like it.
I think they actually brought to do well.
So, all right, let's go on to the Bears.
The
Actually, let's go Bears. So, they had a rough game last night.
And as always, Jay Cutler is like the wild card, right? Like, Matt Forte is going to be solid. Their defense will be solid. Their receivers are solid. What is Jay Cutler going to do?
Yeah.
Is he going to Brett Favre it up, or is he going to be like, oh, I'm actually going to throw 40 touchdowns? Like,
Jay Cutler will be a top 10 fantasy quarterback, and he plays in all 16 games. Could be a top 6.
okay. For the first time ever?
I think he's top 12. I'd say he's 12 right now. And depending on whether he's the guy that was on the bike during the Super Bowl, or whether he was like where he was before he got injured last year.
Bike during the Super Bowl.
When he got injured, and he's like, I
the
can't go in.
championship game? No,
Oh, it was the championship game. And then he's just like, I'm just going to go ride my bike. Like,
Oh,
he
yeah.
just sat and went out with his bike. And they like showed him for like 30 minutes just riding bike. Like,
He had like a torn ligament in his knee or something.
Yeah, he couldn't plant and throw.
There's no way he could have, like, people
it was just like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have, that information wasn't out yet. And you're
Yeah.
just like, what is this guy doing? Like, go take your team to the championship. Like, yeah.
I mean, I don't see him, if ever, like, assuming no injuries, I don't see him doing better than, you say top 6, like,
What if
No, that's
What
what I'm
if
saying.
Carson
That's an
Palmer
actual
went to the
statement.
Bears? Back.
Don't, he can't. Jordan Palmer with the Bears. They can't both be on the same team.
Actually, I've been on the same thing.
I know.
pretty
The
good.
universe
So,
almost exploded.
Is there anything that is interesting about this team other than Jay Cutler's wild cardness?
No.
I mean,
Brand
everything else you
Marshall
know,
sucks.
like
Matt
you know what
Forte
you're gonna get in
stinks.
Brand Marshall. You know what you're gonna get in Alshon Jeffrey. Like,
Actually,
You don't know what you're
I
going to get with
don't- I
Alshon
don't think
Jeffrey.
so.
That's a freak
Yeah,
happened this year. How in the world did that all of a sudden happen? I mean, he was the decent wide receiver in South Carolina. He did good.
Then someone picked him up for $40 on waivers.
I think he could do really well. I think the fact that Brandon Marshall and Matt Forte get keyed in a lot opened up the field for him quite a bit during certain times. And like the way that Jay Cutler focuses in on Brandon Marshall, Josh McCown was like heavy focusing in on Alshon Jeffrey when Cutler went down last year. And so I think Jeffrey's good. I think he's getting slightly overrated. A lot of people have both of those two in like the top 20, top 15 overall, right? And I don't think Jeffrey's. I don't think Jeffrey's going to do that well this year. Like he's looked pretty good in the preseason. Like the couple plays I've seen him catch the ball. He's really good. I just don't. I think he's slightly overrated right now.
He played in 10 games and had 24 receptions his rookie year. He went
Yeah.
almost 90 games.
Yeah.
All right.
14
So
other
long of the short, Jay Cutler, as always, is the make or break.
Yeah. You believe in Jay Cutler, then
and Jordan Palmer ain't gonna take them anyway.
Why not?
that's going out on him.
Why would he not take someone with
That's
Josh
good.
McCown would? I think it's actually their coach, Justin Budman, whatever.
Maybe. Well, maybe see something.
Those are pretty good numbers.
All right, let's look at let's
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
up with Rodgers.
That's
We got a
the-
few minutes here before we got to get to this.
What's the last team?
Packers.
The Rodgers.
The Rodgers.
What was that?
Rodgers. Top three, easy. You know, depending on where you want to take
I
him.
really love him for $26.
I really love him for $28, but yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is going to be the number one fantasy quarterback this year over your boy Peyton and that guy down in New Orleans.
No.
I think Breeze has a better chance of being number one than Rodgers does.
I don't
think
think
Rodgers
so.
will be because he has his scrambling ability, his rushing touchdowns, and I just think they're going to throw it all over the place. He's going to stick a middle finger
Yeah,
up.
and he has
Everyone else
Lacy.
is like, I'm
Where-
going
Is the perfect human being.
It's perfect. But he doesn't have an Ed
He has a
Lacy
birthmark
that's
right
also like pushing to take some steam off him, right? So I think in
Yeah, I
terms-
mean all the running backs in New Orleans, like I think benefit Drew Brees because Pierre Thomas catches a ton of balls and I think
Second
he's gonna
most
do
last
that.
year.
Yeah, he had 77 I think last year. Like, it's crazy, and so
but
think
Nelson,
he could-
Cobb,
yeah, who's their tight end now?
The other one on a stretcher, he's back, yeah?
Richard Rodgers.
No.
Corliss.
Corliss.
Yeah, that's that.
You guys, I think Jermichael Finley's gone.
Yeah, Finley's gone now.
But yeah, some Rodgers characters.
There's been a lot of talk that Boykin will actually really improve because really they have a lack of a player at tight end. Like he's gonna like take a lot.
I heard that Boykin lost La Valley because they had too many receivers.
Yeah, but Boykin may play a lot of that like smaller. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people liking Boykin right now. So. Yeah, Packers have to win this division, right? Like, it's theirs to lose.
I don't.
Yeah, and I
This
think
division is so brutal. Like
The
there's
Bears,
so many
I
good
think-
teams in it.
there's three really good offenses, and I don't think any of the defenses really stack up. It'll be interesting to see like which defense actually.
If the Bears
Can do
defense can
anything.
pull
There's
off a
three
lot of
really good
stuff.
offenses and a good team.
You want to come in and talk about the Bears defense, Sal?
They suck.
Yeah.
They got Jared Allen. I think it's better than not having Jared Allen.
Yeah.
He's
Lost
just a-
Julius Peppers.
He's just a
Is he
pseudo.
gone now?
runner.
Yeah. He's at Green Bay.
Wow.
Oh, that's gonna be fun game.
Is Clay Matthews? He's still injured? Is he?
Oh, I don't
No, he's no longer.
They got Clay
injury.
Matthews there. They got
Clay
Rodgers.
Matthews, Julius Peppers, AJ Hawk, Brad Jones,
Peppers.
Sam Shields.
I think. The
I
Packers are the
think
favorites,
I think Detroit will win the division.
Really?
I think it's their year to kind of like, all right, let's stop being terrible at throwing games.
Are you okay?
I can't say that with any confidence.
I would say of the other three teams besides the Packers, potential I like the Lions. Just because I just like them from I think their output will be interesting.
I think it's Packers unless the Bears. Unless Jay Cutler just goes crazy, I think the Bears could win it. I think it'll come down to the head-to-head matchup between the Bears and the Packers.
Who's the fantasy MVP who's not named Adrian Peterson from this division? There's a lot of people to choose from.
Besides Calvin Johnson.
There's a lot of them.
Calvin Johnson.
So you got to take Calvin Johnson out, take out Adrian Peterson.
No, is it Calvin Johnson over Matt Forte?
Yeah.
Is it them over Matt Stafford? Over Aaron Rodgers?
Depends on the scoring.
Over Jay Cutler?
I think Aaron Rodgers is probably next.
All that matters is none of those players are on the bench.
Or on Chris's team.
I have 8 people from this division.
And yet, amazingly, he's still going to lose.
And I traded away Brandon Marshall, so I had more.
All right.
Okay.
Any closing thoughts?
I love the Cowboys.
You're jealous of the Cowboys.
Jealous that you have Brandon Wheaton. He's my baby. So.
And championships and relevance within the league. I understand it.
Relevance for what? Because
Ricky and I are high on Boykin. Draft him late. I'd get him first.
Are you going to get suspended because you're high in Boykin? Get it? Yeah, I want it.
That was stupid. You're stupid. We should have ended 5 seconds.
Yeah, we
Okay.
should have.
All right, we're done, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Nobody likes you.